I look at the girl, she swings, and I pull my face away, and she swings past my face. And Franny, who's behind me with her head down, holding my tights, she slugs Franny in the forehead, and because it missed me. Well, Francine, you and she slugs the girl, and they get into a tussle.
Three-way dance to wrestle Raven for the ECW World title. Straight afterwards, it's Stevie Richards versus the Sandman versus Terry Funk. The BWO accompanies Stevie, including 7-Eleven. I don't remember that character at all. With a camcorder, so that'll be the 6 rip-off. And some dude who's meant to be Dennis Rodman as well, I think.
Yes.
The Sandman entrance. But you can't watch it on the WWE Network. I know the copy that I sent you was from the pay-per-view feed. I watched it on the network thing, and I tell you, the difference it makes.
Terrible.
The difference it makes when that music is overdubbed. But we'll actually talk about that another time as well. Terry Funk has some weird knockoff of the Eagles on the WWE Network version of it as well. But liberal use of a ladder, including Terry Funk spinning ladder attack and Sandman flipping the ladder into Stevie and then into the crowd. Now, I mentioned at this point, I'm surprised that ECW was not sued more for certain things like this, where the ladder just went boing straight into the crowd and could have smashed someone in the head. I mean, how many times was ECW sued? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know how many times. I had heard at the time, because I wasn't there the night of the branding incident with Mick Foley and the fire that burned the fan. But my understanding of it was that fan got free tickets and like a bunch of merchandise and was just happy as a pig in shit to be part of it, you know? And that really did save us, because there were a lot of times ECW could have got sued. I know there was one lawsuit. Just double check this. No, 2 lawsuits involving me and Francine. Like I said in last week's episode, I'm not going to get you pissed off and then beat you up because you're pissed off with me. And in Downingtown, the Downingtown Farmers Market was a tiny building. And by this time, ECW was really chugging. Even though this was on the, less than an hour probably from Philadelphia, it was a completely different crowd, but still playing the same rules the ECW crowd would be. I'm sure some people the same. But the entranceway in the Downingtown Farmers Market was about, 3-4 feet wide. So any fan could get you. It was just impossible. So we would go out with what I would term a phalanx of security. One here, one here, one here, one here. And Franny always walking behind me, keeping her head down with her hand in my tights. Because I told her when we first started working together, if something goes south out there, I'm the fullback. Just hang on for dear life. I'm going to get me and you to the dressing room. And so she's walking behind me, and when I'm walking, I would keep my head down so don't have the area to, I'm not going to give you my face to throw a punch or spit or whatever. And I'm looking over the top of my eyes, and I see a girl on my right, left side of the entrance. She's standing on her chair, leaning on the rail, and she's like got that look on her face. She's going to take a swing, right? So as I near her, I sort of just pulled myself a little bit further this way, and I go past her, and then I feel myself pulled to a stop, and I turn around, and I look at the girl. She swings, and I pull my face away, and she swings past my face. And Franny, who's behind me with her head down, holding my tights, she slugs Franny in the forehead, and because it missed me. Well, Francine, you bitch, and she slugs the girl, and they get into a tussle. By this time, security has grabbed us and yanked us. Paul came out and pulled my hair and got us to the back. I'd get the guy she was with smacked me in the face with a chair while I was bear hugged. And I kept trying to get back out the crowd to go kill somebody. And our security, Mark Shapiro, had kicked that girl out. And he should have had her arrested because she attacked us. Well, she went home and she told her mom some BS story that me and Francine beat her up. And so her mother calls the state police. And by the time we're getting back to the hotel that evening, our head ticket taker, or like our manager, calls and says, Debbie Beaumont, by the way, she said, hey, the state police just called. They want to come and interview you and Francine in the morning. I said, for what? She said, I don't know, something in the building tonight. So, Francine, I was like back to sweating bullets. Like she's really nervous. And I said, first of all, take your fake nails off, get down and put dirt under your nails, so you can't be accused of scratching her. As, and we're getting everything set and ready to go. So I get on an interview first with this guy, and she then goes down next. And the next thing I know, charges are filed. And so the guy was there just dotting his I's and crossing his T's. He's going to file the charges because he thinks he's going to get the World Heavyweight Champion and make his sergeant bars, I guess. So that was the first lawsuit that I was aware of with us. The second one was a lawsuit in Allentown where we were wrestling Tommy and Beulah. Beulah pins me. We get heat after the match. Rude hits the ring. We powder, split the ring, and I get to the back, and Franny's stuck behind the ring. And Rude is, you can see from 100 feet away, Rude is really pissed. And he's screaming, "Get your bitch out of here." So I'm like walking forward. I go, "Francine, let's go, let's go." And I'm not paying attention to the fans. At some point, this 15-year-old blonde girl on my left spits a hawker in my face. I said, "What the fuck are you thinking?" And this guy next to her, big, fat, obese guy next to her, right? Hawking one up. So he goes to spit, and I turn my face. He spits on me, and then he sucker punches me and turns to run. Why? Like in the arena, I jump over the railing going after the guy. Yeah. And well, by the time I even got to the guy, I couldn't get my arms around him. That's how big he was. And my security guy had jumped over Big Joe, the big tall guy, bear hugged me from behind and turned me away. And when the guy kicked me in the elbow and caused that surgery. And the dressing room emptied out, pulled me over the railing, made a circle around me, and dared anybody to come through it. I'm being taken to the hospital in an ambulance, and I see two cops with this guy. And I stop and I said, "That's the guy who attacked me. I'm pressing charges." We go to the hospital. Long story short, this guy files a lawsuit against ECW. Unbeknownst to me, later that night, Rob Van Dam would attack a fan. And so Paul, to help Rob, erases the match or erases the tape, right? So now I've got no footage of this fan attacking me. And it's went through the court system and up to this guy was claiming that I beat him so badly he had X number of broken bones and he had a hip replacement. I mean, it was ridiculous. Said I floated 10 feet in the air and stayed on his back for 10 minutes, punching him in the back of the head. It just like was ridiculous, like so obviously made up bullshit. And so Paul calls me one day after these hearings have started, and he said, "Hey, our insurance company is going to give $10,000. The building's going to give $10,000, and the judge would like to know how much money you're going to give to settle the case." I said, "He can suck my fucking ass, the judge." I said, "Well, Paul didn't tell me the judge was on the phone with him, right?" And so, but it really worked because I apologized. I said, "Look, I'm sorry, Your Honor." I said, "But I've done nothing wrong with this guy." I said, "If I did any of the stuff that he claims I did, which I'm not capable of doing, he'd be dead." And I said, "This is clearly a quick money grab. He attacked me, not the other way around. His daughter, turned out it was his daughter, instigated it, and neither of them have been held accountable." And so the judge finally settled. So Paul and the building settled with the guy, and I ended up giving nothing. So I know there were at least two, and I'm guessing probably far more. But Paul was, again, being the son of an attorney, Paul had a real knack and understanding of how to stave that stuff off, how to stifle it. And like, for instance, we had the show in the Golden Dome, me versus Bam Bam. Earlier in the day, now that college was built in 1969, and I knew this furniture had been there pretty much from the outset because I'd been in that building 10 million times. Bammer sat down on this old couch, and the couch broke in the middle. It was just an old metal banded thing. And at the end of the night, Paul said, "Tell the manager of the venue to give you a itemized list." He put out, but maybe wrong slightly on the number, but he put in something like that was a $6,000 sofa. You can go to any used store and get it for $10. But I went back to Paul. I said, "Hey, fuck him. It can't be 6,000. I think he's 30 years old, blah, blah, blah." He goes, No, that's what he wants. We'll give it to him. And that's how Paul would, stave off those lawsuits. So how many times Paul would have to settle that you'd have to ask him. I'm sure it was probably more than just the two that I know of. But I think a lot of those fans, it probably should have been far more than what the actual number was, because a lot of those fans felt like, hey, they were part of the show. Like, this is cool. I'm in the swing of things, I know the guy, at least I've been told the guy that was burned in the branding incident didn't sue, that he had taken merchandise and tickets and that kind of thing. And I guess it would happen quite a bit more. What the number is, I have no idea.